before Babel, heroes and demigods. The story goes back to Babel, like the Tower of Babel, or like a magic trick. It was before the intervention of the civilized gods, or to put it better, terraformers. It was before the end of the universal language, before the lunar cult replaced by a solar cult. And what affects the moon is a feminine principle, whereas the solar is masculine, but not in all languages. In German, it's the opposite. Der Mond, die Sonne. For this time, let's stay at the French version. Here, Sol Invictus, the undefeated sun, ancestor of Christianity, accompanies the advent of patriarchy after so many moons of matriarchy, and it's under the sign of Ram, or good old Ram, that of Rama, and his like. Ram, this brawling animal, is very present in the Saga of Eden, under the French version Bélier, meaning ram or Aries. King Belus or Baal or Bel or Belin, still phonetic neighbors who answer each other in many languages. Could it be that this name is primarily feminine, derived from Belili, the moon goddess of the Sumerians? If one listens attentively to the legends, one hears this feminine principle at every corner. Moreover, luxury that serves us the names of the protagonists have a meaning to claim. The goddess of all things who emerges from chaos is Evrinomi, so aptly named. Why? Because her name means the great traveler, which brings us back to our heavenly source, to which we subscribe. And when we can read that name, it's that of the goddess is a visible moon, whose Sumerian name was Yahu, yes, like Yahu or Yahoo or Yahoo. A sound that you read by elsewhere. It does not take much imagination to understand how we were given the name of Yahweh. We also note that the Hebrew pronunciation is not the right one. We should pronounce the Sephiroth YHVH, not Yahweh but Yahu. The absent vowels have not allowed the Hebrew tongue to ensure the preservation of the original sound, alas. It must be remembered that the advent of patriarchy led to the rewriting of ancient history, in which all the names of feminine divinities, queens, prophetesses, and druidesses were replaced by masculine names. For me, Thor never existed. It was the masculinization of the great goddess Hathor, sovereign of Hyperborea, more revered than all other deities of protohistoric Egypt. The ram symbol allows us to date both the episode of Babel and the matriarchy-patriarchy transition, because ram is also a time, that of the astrological era of Aries, whose advent dates back to 2000 BC. The matriarchy would have been extinguished 4,000 years ago when Ram of Hyperborea took precedence over matriarchs, when Aries came to replace the era of Taurus, which one would do better to call the era of Tower or of Hathor. The exercise in question requires flexibility and freedom from vertigo, navigating at sight between discomfort of the big gap and the swell of explanations beyond all reason. We risk to pick ourselves up, or more exactly to have us picked up by certain guardians of certain institutions. Respectfully as we are, we will never allow ourselves to dogmatize anything. The only conclusion that suits all these lines is that of an author who is dear to me and who receives the first to believe without believing, excellent mantra to cultivate humility. In the absence of dogma, let us dare to repeat our deep conviction. Our language of origin, good God, has existed, even survived in different regions of the planet. To take a closer look, it is not illogical. If the upright posture, that of the trained men, has favored language and atomical reality, It may well have been present a very long time ago. We think artifacts of support that have nothing of singularities, that this bipedalism is certainly not a fashionable posture, but that it has been in vogue for a long time. The language could be too. How to name this language? Without wanting to offend anyone, nowhere on earth can one claim to be an inventor of this or that. Humans have always enjoyed special conditions, always being guided and helped. Never one has invented anything substantial at this particular place. Aboriginals everywhere may well stop feeling superior to the rest of the human race. It's best to relate this language to its true initiator rather than to any ethnic group. And this initiator is multiple. It is about she, or Aillet, or her band, the great boss of the superhuman civilizers. The original language has been taught to us. It is the galactic language coming from space, probably spoken in a good part of the Milky Way. There is no superior race, therefore no superior language either, except that of the civilizing gods. So let's get rid of the language of the birds, the goslings, the Bretons, the Germans, the Basques, the Huns, and others who have the merit to exist at different levels of reading or comprehension, and to remind us that they all derive from the language of the gods, or rather God Aillet, unless it is of the goddess El. The mother tongue of our beautiful planet, it has preserved itself in Old German, in Basque, in the Mayan languages, in the Orongo of Easter Island, among the Maori as well. It has reached us by the voice of our mother tongues. All our languages have in them a message of the past or of the future, which we must take for what it is, a wonderful invitation to wisdom. Let's take a few facts. History, always written by the victors, erases or denatures the vanquished. It is systematic. Thus, power in the name of a new and unquestionable new order makes the predecessor or the opponent assume the custom of ignominy, not the most comfortable to wear. The episode of Babel. It was a few minutes ago when regard to time on earth cuts us off from the moment when men were understood everywhere in the world. This episode was meant to separate us from our roots, from our true past, to allow the emergence of what divides us and not what brings us together. Much later, Machiavelli, very twisted political genius, made his first precept, divide and conquer. And all the potentates followed this said maxim, a gift from the former gods. So the god Seth, the former administrator of the earth, was demonized. He has become the foul Satan. So true it is, the god of one religion becomes the devil for the next. Yes, exactly. The new devil has even made his trademark that tends to prove it. Eli, then, or Elijah, or E, or L, or Li, or L, or L, or El, this god or this protean goddess has left an indelible mark, however. Even the editors of the old texts, which for some have become sacred, have not been able to erase that altogether, except that they made man the woman who reigns from all eternity on this earth and in the sky. L. Okay, I don't agree with this, but anyway, this is by Alain Aillet on Eden Saga, Creative Commons. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.